Grids are always a really nice, simple pattern to have on a scrapbook page. And the way that we're gonna achieve this pretty easily is with one circle punch. My idea is to cut a bunch of squares like this out of your pattern paper, and then we're going to punch holes in each square. After you punch holes in each square, it'll kind of, this is hard to say, but it'll kind of look like this, but just imagine a hole there. And you're gonna piece together a grid of 9 squares. You don't want your square to be exactly 1 inch around. So this ended up being 1.25 inch square. If you want just basically more area around the circle, then you can size your square to like 1.5 inches or 2 inches. Your grid is gonna be about 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. It's gonna be a 3 3/4 square. I'm gonna punch out more than 9 square pieces of pattern paper because I think that I'm going to end up changing my mind on how I'm going to arrange this. So I'm going to work with strips, and I'm going to cut my strips into 1.25 inch strips. So here I have my 5 strips. I'm going to cut 3 squares out of each of them actually. So I'm going to have 18 to play with. And I'm just basically going to go in and arrange my patterns on my grid here. I'm pretty happy with that. And what you're going to want to do is take your 1 1/4 inch square. I'm just going to take some glue. I'm going to try to glue this as close as I can get, right smack in the center. You're going to need to also cut just a few, these don't have to be precise, just a few strips to kind of hold on to your template with. Okay, so to make your template, just take your strip and attach it to the back so you've got something to hold on to, and then you're just going to take your punch and align it with that circle that you've just attached to the middle, and you're going to punch. Okay, when you're done, that's going to give you this template that you're going to work with. Okay, let's go over how to use your template once you make it. Here mine seems a little off center because I've already used it, and as you use it a few times, your circle is going to start to get a little off center, because then you'll start to be punching little rims off of the circle, off of your template. So every so often you're going to want to create a new square to use as your template when you notice that the edges are becoming uneven. So that's one thing to remember. But I'm going to go ahead and just use this for an example. The side that you don't want facing you, you're going to glue that down. And the reason being, when you go to pull that piece of paper up, if it gets ripped, like if that pattern paper gets ripped or destroyed a little bit, it doesn't matter because that's going to be facing down. So you're going to mount it on there with the side facing you up, and then you're going to flip it, and you're just going to take your circle punch and align it as best as you can. It's best to work slowly so you don't have to create more templates, and you have the best centered circle possible. And so there you can see it's a pretty clean punch. I didn't get any rims from the template off of that. So when you're done, remember this is the part that you're going to use, so you want to go easy, and you're just going to gently pull it apart, and then that's the part I'm going to set down on my grid. And the idea is to take this circle that you punched, and you can just kind of pop that in the middle. So basically you're going to do that same thing for every single circle here. So here I have my squares all punched out. That's how my grid is going to look roughly until I glue it down. I'm going to go ahead and glue down each little square. And to glue this down, I decided to use two-way glue pen or Tombow adhesive. You can use just pretty much anything that will allow you to add adhesive just to like a tiny area. So this allows you to have a bit of control over where the glue is placed. So it's a bit harder to try to use tape glue on something like this. And I want to align it as best I can. I'm kind of setting my circles up here in the pattern that they're gonna end up being, so that when I go to put them back, I know where they go. Here's what my embellishment looks like after I've gone in and glued down all those squares. I changed the arrangements of the circle patterns on the inside a little bit, and I felt like it needed to be framed, so I mounted it on some glittered cardstock and brought that into the middle by punching a hole and putting it right over there. And I wanted to continue with the grids, so I had my photos. They were already 4x4 photos, and so I just kind of matted that on this big, huge one. This brown one measures 8.5 by 8.5. These are 4x4 squares, all in the middle. And this one was 3.25 squared. So that just gives you an idea of all the measurements I did here. I will show you my finished piece after I get my title and journaling all done, and I will come back.
Here's my completed layout. On the top right hand corner, you see the grid all glued down. Here's a close-up of that grid. I've added a couple felt stickers and ribbon. Here's another angle so you can see that dimension in that grid. I used foam dots to pop up 3 of those circles. And I'm going to finish with a last look at that scrapbook page. I've left that journaling box blank because this layout is going to be given as a gift. And that completes this tutorial. Thanks for watching. For more ideas on using punches, I'm going to leave a link to my Scrapbooking with Punches and Die Cuts class below. See you next time.